Your Buffalo Bills just got great news. And part of that great news is they have a new face in the special teams room. Mitch Wishnowsky is their new punter after Cameron Johnston went down and onto injured reserve here. So, number 19, welcome to Buffalo, as he was one of the better punters in the league back in 2023. Dealt with some injuries back in 2024, but it was about middle of the pack then. We'll see if he could do a little bit better than the 38-yard net average that the Bills punters have had so far. But let's get into the rest of the good news for your Bills on today's show. What's going on, Bills Mafia? You're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and we just got some amazing news on a couple of veterans that have been out of the picture for your Buffalo Bills these past few weeks, and looks like they are getting back on the football field. Before we tell you what's going on with Milano, Brown, Oliver, and so much more, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We provide free Bills content every single day, injury updates, game previews. We go live for every single Bills game as well, and this week, it's Pat's week. We are against Patriots today in a sub-battle, and they still are clinging to a very tight lead. If you guys want to beat the Patriots off the field before we beat them on the field, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on as well so you know when we post content right here on the Breakdown. Alrighty. McDermott did say that all three of Brown, Oliver, and Matt Milano have a chance to play on Monday. The game's on Sunday, but on Monday he said they have a chance to play in Week 5 against the Patriots as they are back at practice with limited participation, of course. Ed Oliver missed 3 games dealing with that ankle injury that he sustained in the latter stages of the Ravens game in Week 1, where he absolutely balled out. And now, do I want to rush Oliver back sooner than we have to? No, but this is a Patriots game where I think his services will be greatly needed against a very talented QB in Drake May. Matt Milano dealing with that pectoral injury suffered just when the second half started in Week 2 against the Jets, and he's missed the last 2 games because of it. Now, Milano's a player that's often injured and a player that gets injuries re-aggravated. So another guy who I'm not necessarily rushing back per se, and I'm not going to sit here and act like Matt Milano has balled out to start the season either. He's graded out pretty low to middle of the pack in terms of linebackers across the league, so we'll see how that injury progresses. More details in a moment. And Spencer Brown dealing with the calf injury as well. I think we see Spencer Brown back this week. It seemed like he was going to try to give it a go, but against a lesser opponent in the Saints, they wanted to err on the side of caution here, and rightly so, right? With calf injuries, it's very precarious. Re-aggravation risk is very, very high when it comes to those. We want nothing to do with Achilles injuries here on the Bills' stellar offensive line. And look, man, in relief of Brown here, the Bills got awesome stuff from Ryan Vandermark, at least per PFF. I mean, there were certainly a couple of plays, and I heard people talking on Twitter during the game that Vandermark was missing a couple of assignments, wasn't really that great, but PFF seemed to not think so. He was graded out stellar for them. 79 overall. That is really, really good, really above average. 68.5 pass block grade, which is still, about average there. But the 82.0 run block grade was big time there. Although the one play that sticks out to me is, and maybe it's just on Joe Brady for calling something cute rather than keeping it simple and running James Cook in between the tackles here, but he called that little mini end around for Khalil Shakir on 4th and 2 that ended up giving the Saints a short field. And Vandermark was pulling on that play and didn't really make a great rep there. So a couple things stuck out to me as bad, but overall it seemed like he was good. So there's a chance that we might not need to rush Spencer Brown back, but it doesn't seem like it was a crazy long-term injury here. So looks like he'll be returning in Week 5, but again, nothing confirmed yet. It's only Wednesday's practice. Wouldn't be surprised on Milano's front to see if he misses another game here. Just with the way that they've talked about and handled this injury and handled him as a player with injury, you want to have your starting linebacker back, but he's just a guy who's on the injury report a lot and missing a lot of time. So you want to make sure that he's 100% ready to go back. But at the same time, the Bills did have a linebacker in their room who played this past week that is not practicing on Wednesday. So he could miss time. And maybe Milano, as he's back out there on the field. And I saw a couple of videos. He looked pretty solid. Oliver, on the other hand, we'll talk about in a second. He might have a couple of concerns. But Milano, he looked pretty good out there. And we'll monitor his status as the week goes on. Ed Oliver, though, he's missed 3 games. However, he's been out of a boot for a while now. He's out of all braces that he's been rocking, since he suffered that ankle injury. But I was watching a couple of videos from practice here and a couple of accounts on Twitter who I trust when it comes to looking at and examining Bills injuries. We're saying that the lateral quickness on a couple of the individual drills that Ed Oliver was doing didn't look all that great. So we'll see if he ends up being game ready. Again, it's only Wednesday's practice. He is limited. Maybe he's not going 110% in these reps either. If he's practicing on Thursday, if he practices on Friday, there'll be very, very good status for Ed Oliver to return in Week 5 against New England, because I think they're going to need it, man. The TJ Sanders experiment hasn't gone super well to this point. Deion Walker, we all know, looks like a stud steal from that 4th round of this past draft. Daquan Jones has looked pretty good too, but number 91 changes the game for the Bills on that interior. So really, really going to want to have him back against a New England offensive line that I don't think has been tested all that well this year just yet. If you guys want Matt Milano, Ed Oliver, and Spencer Brown to play on Sunday, manifest the good vibes for me down below. Hit the like button. Smash it like you're jumping through a table in the grass lot, like today's video, if you guys want all the Bills healthy for Week 5. Next, we got some not-so-great news on the injury front. Like I said, Bills did have a linebacker miss practice on Wednesday after going down in the Saints game in Week 4. And then some depth chart moves, perhaps, from Sean McDermott after a little bit of experimenting in the early part of the season. We'll tell you what that is in just a moment. First, though, get hooked up with our sponsor on the program. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right in those decisions can get you paid. It can get you up to 2,000 times your money in one daily fantasy lineup watching your Buffalo Bills this season, because it's daily fantasy made easy. Just pick 2 players, pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, or pick 6, and just pick more or less on their projected stats, whether it's rushing yards, receiving yards, punts. They got punts inside the 20 on this thing. It's unbelievable, the selection they have. It makes watching the game so much fun. I've been a customer longer than they've even been a sponsor here at Chat Sports, so take it from me. They always want to make it easier for you guys to win real money in real time. They offer up $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Don't even have to win that first lineup. It's guaranteed. But what isn't guaranteed is you getting that 50 and not using our promo code CLNS, like you see in the bottom right of your screen. So use that code, and then you'll get the $50 in lineups after you play your first 5. My lineup for Week 5 against the Pats, I got Dalton Kincaid more than 33.5 receiving yards. A little bit of a bounce-back game. Breakout season still in motion. Drake May, more than 25.5 rushing yards. I think this is the hammer of the week. Drake May, he can scramble. The Bills, they allow a lot of scrambles. Yeah, give me Drake May rush yards. They give me Josh Allen rushing yards as well. I mean, it's prime time. You know, Pat's got a good run defense. I trust in the QB to make a big play. Tail my picks or fade them. Just do it at PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use the code CLNS for $50 in lineups when you place your first $5 lineup. You don't have to win that lineup to receive the 50. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Alrighty here. So Dorian Williams got banged up and missed practice, the first one of the week here. And banged up Bills had a little bit of a breakdown as he was looking through the film and to try to see exactly where Williams got hurt on this one. He said it's tough to find, but Williams looks injured in his left hip or groin on one of 2 plays. One in the 4th quarter, because he left the game in the 4th. He lands hard on his left hip and slides. And then in the 4th quarter with about 12 minutes left, basically the next play, runs towards the sideline, right leg slips as he tries to stop and pivot. Had trouble pushing off the left leg the rest of the series. Has been wearing a left knee brace prior as well. So he did not practice on Wednesday here. Dorian Williams is not out there. And it's not great news when you consider that Matt Milano is coming back from injury here and only limited in practice so far. So, you know, Dorian Williams, not great that he's not going to be there. But at the same time, I didn't love his reps during this Saints game compared to those of Shaq Thompson. Honestly, guys, I would love to see Shaq Thompson kind of be elevated over Dorian Williams here in the depth chart for Buffalo. So he was making plays in a couple plays in coverage that I was surprised by, making plays behind the line of scrimmage as well. Had his stuff on a run play. So I like what I've seen from Shaq Thompson in the fairly limited snaps that we've seen so far, but I would just love to see Milano back on the field at some point here. Let's talk about some of the players that the Bills have still on injured reserve here, as Max Hairston, Tyler Bass, and Tylan Grable all were mandatory missing 4 games to start the season. They are still on injured reserve. McDermott came out and said that the Bills will not be activating or opening the practice window for any of these 3 guys. Max Hairston still dealing with the knee injury. Tyler Bass dealing with the pelvic stuff. I'm not so super concerned on the Bass injury because Matt Prater's been fine for the Bills. Outside of that one shank that was like super weird. It's like he glitched in Madden or something like that. Prater's been more than serviceable. And then Tylan Grable, I don't really know how injured he actually is. Come back from an abdomen thing. I think the Bills are just holding him on injured reserve for roster flexibility, and they'll pull him up whenever they need to put another guy on IR. Now, as far as the Hairston thing, I think that the Bills are going to be taking their time here with Max Hairston. I mentioned it before, but with the practice window opening in Week 5, a real return would line up for the Bills bye week, and I don't think that's historically the way that teams or the Bills at all want to kind of get a guy back in to the rotation here, especially a rookie who's never played on an NFL football field before. So they're going to be taking their time here. I could see, and he also didn't look like super game ready or practice ready, pads ready when we saw the clips of him first coming back to practice those first 2 days. Definitely looked better on the second day of work, but at the end of the day, it's just not really worth it to open the practice window right now. So they may end up waiting all the way up until the bye, when they get their suspended players, Larry Ogunjobi, Michael Hoyt back, to open that practice window and get him back in the mix. Now, as far as the depth chart moves that I kind of alluded to earlier, McDermott was talking about, and we know that the Bills went with a different kind of special teams return game this past week. And I think special teams is going to be paramount against New England. They have a great coverage unit. They return punts. They return kicks for touchdowns. So definitely going to have to be on your P's and Q's there. But McDermott said it's still up in the air regarding who will be returning kicks and punts this week. Cotterton, we know, was a healthy inactive this past Sunday against the Saints. They ended up bringing in Curtis Samuel. He actually ended up getting a little bit of receiving work too, and that's kind of what he provides over a guy like Cotterton, who the Bills do not trust at all in that defensive backfield. So we'll see if Cotterton ends up getting reactivated, because I do think he is the better overall return man, or to the Bills like the factor of having Samuel in there. McDermott basically just said it was to get new faces in there, and it makes sense when you're paying Curtis Samuel the money that you are, unfortunately, to have him out there on the football field. Now, like I said, the Bills must be on their P's and Q's this Sunday on special teams. But Mike Vrabel runs a tight ship over there. They have a good coaching staff. They've been a well-disciplined team so far this season, and they are going to maybe have the difference of the football game had on special teams. So whoever ends up making that difference could end up walking away with this one. I think it's going to be a lot closer of a game than a lot of people think, or at least the people out west do. Who do you guys got in Week 5? Sunday Night Football. BUF for the Bills, NE for the Patriots. If somehow you're some Patriots fan watching this video, ew, I don't know who let you do that. BUF, let me see them down in the comments section. That will do it for today's show, and make sure you are following me on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's common. I am not, though. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. YouTube.com/Bills News. Bills updates every single day. Free videos every single day. Watch party on Sunday as well. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go, Buffalo.